Who are you when you're not trying to align your goals with someone else's? It's so important to maintain your independence and keep those core things that you care about, and remember who you are, who you were before that person. Your energy improves. You're going to feel even more confident and you'll show up even better for your lover. Hello, my name is Phoenix. This is Alex. And today's topic is maintaining individuality, maintaining self while within a relationship. And I have some notes here so that I will stay on topic. This is my first time doing a video like this. I'm going to try my best because I do like to ramble, so there might be a few cuts in this video. I do really like to connect. I like longer formatted content, TikToks and YouTube shorts. I just feel like it serves its purpose when you want the information quick, but it doesn't leave as much of an impression. And I prefer the backstory. I like the emotion. I like to learn someone's personality. I like to know the why, you know? So I feel like this will be fun. And I also think that it's important for those of us who have been to the dark places, the fucked up places. It's important for us to share, to let people know, people who are still in those fucky places, to let them know that there's hope. And so they don't feel alone. Because I've felt that way. Because I felt like, I'm like, damn, is it just me? It's not a logical thought, but you always think it's like, am I the only one going through this? And I don't think anybody should have to feel that way. So if this helps one person, it's worth it. I can do a little intro. I feel like you'll learn more about me as I make these videos and stuff. My name is Phoenix. I live in Florida, and I'm originally from the northeast part of the U.S. I'm born in Pennsylvania. I grew up in Newark, Delaware. I got married really young, divorced really young, and I have had a lot of codependent tendencies. I have been a people pleaser. I consider myself an empath. I absorb the energy around me, and it's very easy for me to mold myself into what I think somebody wants me to be. And I feel like it's easy for hypersensitive and emotional people like us to do that. Even though a person fell in love with us for who we already are, we still try to turn ourselves into what we think they want, and we lose ourselves in the process. And we don't want that. You have to maintain self. So I don't consider myself a guru or anything because I'm still learning and improving as a person as life goes along. I have some wine here. It's a sweet wine because I don't like that dry shit. I do not like that nasty ass wine. I don't know how y'all do that. This is fabulous. I don't remember where I got it. It was someplace in Florida. If I find out, I'll let you know if you want to know. Number one is prioritize your friendships, your family, and your other connections. And this was a huge challenge for me. And that's why I made this number one because, Alex, can you back up, bro? So my parents split when I was 5. I saw my dad every other weekend. So even though my dad and I had a lot in common, we didn't really connect until I was like in my 20s. Like we didn't I'm just talking about like the quality of our relationship as far as like him being a dad, and I never saw my mom get treated properly. She was very insecure. She was dating a lot of goofy ass people, and I just never saw her happy. I always saw her trying to, I don't know. It was a lot. And I feel like that's why it was challenging for me to kind of figure my own shit out. I had to kind of make the same mistakes that she made and unlearn it on my own. So there's so much importance in community, in having a support system. And it was just so easy for me I'm an only child. I don't have any close cousins, like uncles or anybody that I can talk to. And my dad was adopted, so I don't know anybody on his side. He passed away 2 years ago. So it's even more so like all I have is my maternal grandmother and my mom. So it's easy for me to get into a relationship and make that person my everything because it's like, who else do I have to give my energy to? I moved to Florida a couple years ago. I don't really have a whole lot of friends here yet. It's just, it would be so easy for me to fall into that again. And that's why it's so important to maintain self. And that's why we're talking about this. Look at me, I'm rambling already. I'm so sorry. So, my ex husband definitely isolated me, and I allowed and accepted that shit because I didn't have that fatherly, I didn't have that male figure growing up. So, I was okay with it. I was okay with feeling protected or feeling like somebody wanted best for me. When in actuality, he wanted to isolate me. So he isolated me from the few friends that I had. I slacked on my friendships. I hurt those people by prioritizing my relationship over the friendship I had with them prior to that relationship. And that's not fair. You know, you need the connections with those people because you cannot depend on your partner for everything. You can't. And I've done that. And honestly, if that works for you and you have balance and you both can rely on each other for everything because that's all you have, who am I to say that you should change that? But if you start losing yourself, if you feel forgotten or you feel alone while you're in that relationship, then you have to address that shit. Even if you have to seek therapy, or honestly, I had one appointment with a therapist a couple years ago, and she gave me the perspective I needed in one appointment. She told me, she was like, you need to focus on creating. You need to focus on your artwork and you need to make some friends. And I was like, you're right. And I did that. And my life has been thriving. I'm not going to say that's like the only thing that I've been doing. Reading a lot of books has been helping, but you cannot, don't forget about your hobbies, about your friendships. And that takes us into the next topic. Don't forget about your hobbies. I read somewhere that creative energy and sexual energy somehow come from the same place. So imagine this glass of wine. This glass of wine is all of your creative and sexual energy in one. So instead of having those, I'm not just going to say sexual as in the physical act, but just romance in general, that energy, you can pour that into your own hobbies and other things that you enjoy. That does not have to be seeking a partner or pleasing a partner, because self development and growth is so important. Even once you find someone else, you should still be continuing to develop the person that you are, even within that relationship, because that's where your confidence and your self-worth is. And that takes us into the workplace. Don't neglect your job. I've made this mistake before of calling out or not putting as much effort into work or wanting to leave early because I want to go home and see the love of my life, which where that motherfucker at now? But I'm just saying, I regret nothing. I love to live in the moment. Everything has always been a lesson, so I have no regrets in the love that I've shared. But um, do not neglect your job. A lot of people's self-worth is tied up in how successful they are in their career, and you don't want to deteriorate the quality of your workplace experience because you have a new distraction. Don't forget about the things that mattered to you before that person showed up. I feel like that's such a core foundational part of this whole topic is don't forget who you were before you met that person. Continue to be that person. And you might be a little different because I feel like there's a little bit of compromise, of course, involved. There's a little bit of shifting because you're two separate people who have lived your entire lives apart from each other before you met. So it's not going to easily just mesh. And if it does, you know, somehow that works. But normally there's going to be a little bit of compromise, but you don't want to compromise away your needs. You don't want to compromise away the things that mattered to you before you met that person. So that takes us into health and self-care. I feel like there's a lot more people talking about self-care and self-love now, and I think that's awesome. But us 90s kids, I feel like we're the last generation that did not grow up with, like, it wasn't until maybe I was like 17 or 16 or 17 when it was like we had Vine and we had YouTube and stuff. But before that, we didn't have TikToks or reels that you can scroll through with people talking about self-love and don't forget about you. Like, I didn't see that kind of shit. So if it's not in your immediate circle or your family, or you don't have a mentor or someone teaching you this kind of stuff, or if it's not cultural, you have to figure that shit out. And it took a long time for me to figure that out. So anyway, if you so example, if you're someone who has an active lifestyle and you meet someone and you fall in love and you find out that person has a different lifestyle, they're a lot more sedentary. They want to watch Netflix and order food and are not really into hiking or traveling or the things that you're into. Are you going to compromise? Are you going to stop doing those things that you enjoyed? Now, I can understand if you're, of course, doing a little less of it and you meet somewhere in the middle. And maybe they start doing some things with you. They start going on a few adventures and you start spending a few nights in. That's fine. But a sedentary lifestyle will fuck your shit up. We'll talk more about that in the healthy habits video that I'm going to do. Um, but if you were active beforehand and it starts negatively affecting your body, your mental health, your confidence, like I gained 10 pounds in my last relationship. You know, they call that happy weight, but I didn't feel good. And I didn't really realize until afterwards when I started getting back into the things that I used to do prior. I was like, oh shit, that's why I feel like crap. Let me not do that again. Let me not put to the side the things that worked for me. Let me continue to still do that. So now when I do meet someone again, I will maintain my lifestyle, my healthy lifestyle, I like to cook at home, make sure I'm getting my veggies in and eating fruits. And I don't drink soda. I've never been into like sweet stuff anyway, but it's like you start dating, you start going out to eat, then you start eating dessert, you eat more processed food. And it's like, you just have to have balance with anything. I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy life, but if there was something that you were doing, like living a healthy lifestyle before, you don't want to compromise away the things that were working for you. Oh, is that my DoorDash? Oh, I think my food is here. I ordered some Thai food. Do not compromise away the things that have always mattered to you. So it's okay to step out of your comfort zone, right? You learn a new hobby or you find interest in something, you get involved in things that you didn't normally do that you discovered because of that person. That happens and that's awesome. Like I've gotten people into anime or astronomy. Like I really love the stars and I've pointed out planets and stuff, and people who didn't really look at those things in detail before, now they care about that because you open a new window into something that someone hadn't experienced before. That's great. People do that for you. Awesome. But if you start compromising away your needs, there's a difference between compromising and settling. And I don't even want to get started on what my mother is going through right now because it's just going to make me mad. She is compromising away her needs. I'm just going to say that. So if it starts to negatively affect your mental health, your physical health, um, no. Oh, that's my little quote. It's okay as long as you're okay. That's the quote. So when it comes to compromise, like it's okay to compromise as long as you're okay. As soon as that shit hits and starts to affect you badly, or something about your life changes or shifts in a way where you're not having a good time anymore, that's when you have to step back and be like, whoa, what was I doing before that I changed because of this relationship? Maybe I need to start going back to what works for me. So I was over there washing dishes after I had already recorded this whole video, and I thought of something else that I wanted to add. If you are depressed, anxious, if you're feeling detached, you have derealization, depersonalization, any type of mental health shit that you have going on that was not a factor before you got into that relationship. Like, really think about when it started. You have to look at your surroundings. Sometimes even your illness, if you have IBS, like there's all types of digestive things and problems that can occur when you have, I'm not going to say negative energy, but things that affect you negatively that get in your head. Your brain and gut are directly connected. Even increased fat on your body can directly be related to stress. So that's why it's so important to maintain your independence and keep those core things that you care about, and remember who you are, who you were before that person. Because when you do start to shift into maybe a more negative mental space where you're anxious all the time, you're having panic attacks. I didn't have panic attacks until I was in my first really like fucked up relationship. and I'm like hyperventilating on the floor, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? That didn't happen until I was with a crazy person. So I'm just like, gosh, I have this problem. And then I saw a therapist, and she's like, oh, you should see a psychiatrist. You should get on Lexapro. Lexapro made me want to die. Like, so this is why you have to be solidified in who you are, because then you will realize when things start to shift, and then you'll check yourself and be like, no, this is not okay. Set those boundaries. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to honor yourself. You are the main character. Everybody else is an NPC, okay? Even the people closest to you are still, this is your story. You can only control yourself. So if you are not happy, sweetheart, you have the power to change your situation. You always have the power to shift it into something better. So don't bitch about it. Just do something about it, okay? And I say that with all the love in my heart. You should still have boundaries, even once you get into a relationship. You can have your own interests, independent thoughts. That's Alex's automatic feeder. It feeds him every couple hours because I travel for work, and it's very useful. You can't be afraid of the conflict. And that's what my mother's going through right now. I don't want to get fully into it, but she has been in a lot of traumatizing relationships. She's been with abusive, aggressive, angry types of people. So, in order to avoid conflict, she just does what he wants to do. She's completely shifted her life into his interests. She doesn't play her guitar anymore. She's not doing the things that she loved. She gets no solitude because he wants her to be around him all the time. She's compromising away her needs. And she does not advocate for herself or express when she needs something because she's like, oh, I don't want to argue with him. You know, she's like, oh, it's okay because he's consistent. He's reliable. But like, are you bored? Are you doing the things that you love? Are you still being creative? Are you still you? So, and also if you having boundaries or you honoring yourself causes conflict, like actual conflict, that's a problem. You should evaluate that situation because that person should value you as an individual and realize that you have your own needs as well that might be separate from what they need or require in order to be happy or be comfortable. Like, I don't want to go too off topic, but like me personally, I like silence. You see how quiet it is here? I love living in a nice small town. I don't sleep with the TV on. I get overstimulated very easy. So, for someone who sleeps with the TV on, or say there's a person next to me just scrolling through reels with their volume all the way up, I'm going into a different room. And that's okay. Do what you want to do. I'm not going to fuck your vibe up. I'm just going to walk away. My mother says that she can't even walk into another room while he's watching baseball because he'll be like, where are you going? You don't want to sit next to me? And she feels guilty and she doesn't want to cause anything. So she just stays there, even though she's not comfortable. Don't do that. It's okay as long as you're okay. We can keep going back to that. That can be our thing. It's okay as long as you're okay. Once you're not okay, it's not okay. You don't have to be of one mind all the time. It seems so boring. Can you imagine just like having all the same interests as the person you're with? Like, it's cool to have similarity, of course, and have interest in the same things. You can do a lot together. But was it like that when you met? Or are you trying to turn yourself into what you think they want? What do you want? My dad used to say, you don't know what you want because you don't know who you are. And I was in that place for a long time. I was very confused. I think I've had like 15 jobs in my life, probably more. I'm an engineer now, but like that wasn't my goal. I'm just here and I'm grateful for it because I love working in quality. I love manufacturing. I love being an engineer, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know who I was because when I got married so young, I tried to turn myself into what I thought my partner wanted. And even after that, I was still in a cycle of trying to please the people around me. And while still trying to figure myself out, it was like you go from relationship to relationship. You don't actually take that break. It wasn't until I spent years by myself, I was like, holy shit. Like, I realized, I'm like, yo, I'm awesome. You don't realize how great you are. Who are you when you're not trying to align your goals with someone else's? Who are you when you're not trying to love someone or please someone or pour into them? What do you want to do? It's normal when you're in a relationship to start saying we, this, us, this is what we're gonna like. Of course, you have another aspect to your life, which is another person. But what do you want? That still matters. Still make that a priority. Have your own personal development, your own goals, your own dreams. Don't forget about you. So these are some things that I do to maintain my individuality. I make time for solitude. And I feel like I can't speak for everyone because I don't know. I feel like everybody needs some time to themselves, but some people, specifically like extroverts, apparently they thrive in those social environments. And even when they're home, they like to be surrounded by people. They love that. My grandpa was like that. God rest his soul. I love grandpa. I miss him. He wanted his family around all the time. Even if he wasn't in the room, if he was upstairs, he wanted to make sure everybody was home because he just loved having his family there, and that's great. I didn't really, I'm so used to not having anybody that I embrace my solitude. I recharge in solitude. And I used to think that I would find someone who would be my peace to the point where I could recharge with them around. But I've discovered that I still need that solitude because being a very sensitive, empathetic person, I'm still absorbing the energy of that person. And I need time to sit in my own energy, my own space for me to fully recover. So, in that solitude, um, I do photography, I paint, I like to go on nature walks, I like to read books, I write poetry, make some tea, take a bubble bath. Like it's going to be different for everyone. Spend time with your friends, call someone that you trust. Like you don't want to have a negative outlook on a relationship, of course. You want to say, like, what if this fails? But shit happens. And say years down the road, it doesn't work out and you guys part ways and you've stopped doing the things that you love for the past 10 years of that relationship. That fucking sucks. I've been there. I think the longest relationship I've been in was 4 years. And um, how old am I? 29. Yeah. Um, that's a long time, especially when you're young. So to put your needs and your hobbies and all that on hold for all that time, like I said, I don't regret anything. But man, like I started playing the violin years ago. If I would have kept on that shit instead of focus on, oh, I'm in love now, like sis could have been, wait, that looks kind of. Anyway, also like go outside alone. And when I say go outside, I mean like have some personal experiences. If every time you go to fucking Walmart or every time you leave the house, you have to be with that person, are you ever going to have any interesting conversations with people? And if the person you're with is an extrovert and they're very social as well, like you might, and that works for you. But in a lot of scenarios, when you are with someone who wants to isolate you, they want you to be that way, even in public. And have some solo experiences, interact with nature on your own, discover life on your own still, develop as an individual, have some independent thought. There's so much power in that, in you just being you and embracing that. It's powerful. I feel so powerful. Like I get tingly. I feel so powerful in knowing me, in being me, knowing what I want. Like, I love that. And I'm never letting go of that, no matter who I meet. Like, you're going to get me as me 100%. Extra zesty. I don't know. I'm running out of adjectives. Um, so yeah, like I know this can be challenging, especially if you live with the person, if you live with your partner or you're married already. I know that can be tough because you work and then you're home. And especially if you're with a codependent person, they're going to be like, you're not at work? Where are you? Why aren't you home? Miss you. But if you really need that time to yourself, communicate with that person like, hey, honey, I love you, but I really need my solitude. And I'll be a better version of me for you, for us, if I get that time to myself to kind of recharge and connect and ground myself, to clear my mind. I really need some silence for a little bit, you know. Sometimes you got to have that conversation. It's easy for me to have solo time because I live alone. I just, you know, I got the cat and I got a snake and the mosquitoes out back. That's it. Find something that makes you happy. Something that's like, you know what? I feel accomplished. I did that. I made that. Even if you get into fitness, that's not as creative, but it's like, it can be, you know? And then as you get better with fitness, or even if you just start hiking or something, spending time outside, as your body improves, your energy improves, you're going to feel even more confident and you'll show up even better for your lover. So, honor yourself. Make sure the person that you're with values you as an individual. And if you feel like you've forgotten yourself, just take that step back, do some rediscovery, have some fun being you. I guess that's it. See you next time. Bye.